build this model here, right? Application model. Okay. My data model, I have employee here. We'll build a CRUD application for this. Okay. Now, we create a view controller project like this. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let me delete this guy and then we'll use this project. Okay. So my employee aim here as an employee B. Okay, we'll use this. Right. In any view control project, you will see that there is a web content. Okay, this is the public HTML directory. Whatever you put here in the web content, okay, you can access it only in that directory, not the subdirectories, not the web dynamic actually. You can access it through a URL, like the untitled.jsp or something. Remember this, you can run only a JSPX page, that is a JSP page, or a servlet in a web application. Apart from that, you cannot run anything else. You can run only a JSP page or a servlet. Okay. Whatever else is there, okay, that helps in building this JSP page. Okay, somehow. So what we'll do is we'll create something called as a page fragment first. Okay, we'll create a search page fragment. What I'll do, right click new, JSF, not the JSF page, but JSF page fragment, JSF file. Okay, Java server pages fragment. Okay. So this is not the actual page, so you cannot actually run it, but you can construct modular pages like this. Okay, so I'll create a JSF, it's a fragment of a page. I'll create a fragment for search, I'll create a fragment for edit, I'll create a fragment for create. Okay, so this way you can actually build your pages piece by piece.
So this is also one page.
Yes. Okay, so you can choose a template here, you can also create a template of your own, let's say your application uses a template. Okay, you can create a template also. Okay, we can see that later. But right now I will use a blank page. So here I'll name it employee search page. Okay, I'll keep that in a directory called page in the public HTML. Public HTML means this web content. Okay. Employee search page. Now, how to build a search page? A typical search page will have a search component, a query component, and a table. Okay. Now, to build a query component in ADF 11G, okay, we use view criteria. Okay, we'll see that briefly here. So, let's see if we have a view criteria in our view or not. Employee view, query. You create a view criteria, okay? Employee view criteria. So EMP search criteria, something like this, okay? Add item, first name equal to or starts with okay? Find first name. Right? String, literal, not required, updatable. Clear? These things? Okay. Last name starts with once you create a view criteria like this, okay, in your data control, you'll have it here in the named criteria, in the employee view named criteria, okay, employee search criteria. Now you can use view criteria like this to create a search region directly from data control, okay. So what we can do, the JSP route, insert a container first, okay, something like panel group layout. You can use anything you want, okay. The panel group layout. A typical panel group layout will group components, okay, vertically or horizontally. So let's say you keep on adding components to it, it will align them vertically or horizontally, depending on the alignment. So I'll layout it in vertical fashion. Horizontally, I'll align them to the left, okay, and vertically to the top, okay. So whatever things I put inside, those will be aligned vertically top, horizontally left to the screen, and one after another in the vertical fashion. This is what this does. It's a very handy component. Almost every layout, whatever you do in ADF, you will be using a panel group layout. Okay? These are the only three things you need to be bothered about. The X-align, V-align, and layout. Okay? Now, I'll go to my variable employee search criteria and drag and drop it as a ADF query panel with table or just normal query panel. Okay, I'll go with ADF query panel with table. It will again show the table structure, just what do you want in the below table. So I'll delete this IDs, and the department ID was having that. I'll take the employee name, the first, okay, maybe the first name and the last name, okay, row selection, filtering, row selection, sorting, okay, fine. See, the search component is built for you out of box. Because this is a very generic requirement, what they did is they built the search component on the ADF framework itself. So if you run it, depending on the view criteria, the values will be rendered. Okay, we'll see what all things we can modify and how we can get behavior out of it. Okay, now, so employee search page is done. Okay, now, you cannot run a JSFF page. You need a JSP page to run the JSP, right? So we already have a JSP page here. Okay? So we'll delete whatever we were using this earlier for. I'll delete this. Okay, we just have a JSPX page. But you cannot drag and drop a JSFF page inside a JSPX page. Okay, even if I pin this here, okay, and then try to drag it, it cannot be done actually. Okay, say it might cause problem because component IDs and all that. Okay, so you want to add places sub view element in your JSP include. So what a JSP include does is, JSP include will just include a whole JSPX or JSFF within a page, but we don't do that. Okay, we'll use something called as regions. Okay, how to create a region? For region you get a task flow. Okay, so I'll just create a task flow for now. Just see how it's created. We'll discuss in detail about the task flow. Okay. So task flows are created inside web INA, not inside the web content. Don't create task flow in web content. Your application won't run. Okay. New JSF PDF task flow. Okay. I'll create it inside a directory flow. I'll name it. Task flow is nothing but one place is configured. Okay, it's the controller file for a set of pages. So in ADF what they didn't go with a single controller file, but you can have as many controller files as you want. Okay. So this is the main difference between ADF 10G and ADF 11G, and it's a main feature. So it comes with lots of functionality. Okay, we'll discuss about it. No, we don't have view criteria even. We don't have task flow. Okay. So employee search flow. Okay. So its search flow is created. Right? So it comes with some things which you will recognize, the activities, the control flows from activity, from outcome to activity, the managed beams. Correct? So it also comes with two things, parameters and behavior. We'll discuss about it. Okay? For now, we'll just use it for navigation purpose. So what I'll do is, I'll drag and drop this employee search page here. The task flow is like a method call. Okay? Control comes inside the task flow, then it executes based on the navigation defined and all. Okay? Now, since the method should have a first instruction, okay, every task flow must have a default activity. So if I drag and drop another JSP page like this, okay, see this hello is there only here. Got it? So what happens is, you can also unmark this as a default activity, but at least one default activity should be there in a task flow, otherwise it will fail. Okay? Let's just play it. So your task flow is done. Okay? So I created a page fragment, I included in a task flow. Now I'll drag and drop this task flow in my untitled one.jsp space. Okay? You can directly drag and drop it here. It will ask you whether you want to go with the region or dynamic region. Dynamic region we'll discuss later on, just make it as a region. Once you drag and drop any task flow as a region, what happens is, something like this gets created, AF region. You can create regions out of only task flows. Okay? And what this region's value is, its value is a binding. It's a region model binding. Okay? So if you go to bindings, one task flow binding will be created like this. You can actually see what is the task flow, web.inf flow, employee search flow.xml, hash employee search flow. So this is the task flow ID. Okay? And then input parameters map. If you want to pass any input. We saw the parameters here, right? So if you are declaring some parameters, you can pass it from. I'll call you. Okay? So let's say I declare a parameter, input parameter 1. If I go here, input parameter 1 would go. You have to pass the value here. Just like method call. Okay? Okay. So once I do it, I can now run my page because I have a JSP. So what happens when control comes here? It will see that it's a region. Okay? Now it will go to the binding of the region and verify what is the task flow. Then again the control will come to this task flow. In the task flow it will search for the default activity. Okay, there may be many other activities here. Okay, and task flow can have these many types of activities. It can have a method call, it can have a parent action, router, save point, restore, task flow, call, another task flow it can call. It can call a task flow return, a return statement. Okay, in ML just like a method. One URL view and one view. This is a view. These are your view, right? Pages. Or a URL view, google.com. Okay, so let's say I put a URL view here. Okay, and then the URL will be www.google.com. Okay, and I'll have a control flow case just like previously. So if action comes with Google, you will go to google.com. You can also make this guy as your default task flow, default activity. So execution will start from here, from this particular view. Okay. Is it? I'm not sure. Workflows you do like this, drag and drop and all that. Okay. I didn't know that. So now you can run your page. Okay. So once the page runs, I told you like it will come here. It will see the region. It will see the binding from where the region task flow is. It will go to that particular task flow. It will go to the default activity and it will execute it, whatever the default activity. Okay, so this page will be shown. And based on actions, you will again navigate to different pages. Okay. Now, let's just run it. So if you go to your employee search page, you will see that in your structure, on A's query component is created, that is my query component, okay? It won't contain any first name or last name or anything. It will implicitly render it. Only at runtime it will render it based on your view thread here. Okay, whatever attributes you have exposed in the view thread here, it will run that. Okay, and there will be a table. The only thing here linking this in this, so whatever value you pass in the view thread and execute, this table should get refreshed, right? So the only thing linking here is the result component ID. In the component, if you go, there is a result component ID. Okay. So you have to put the ID of the table which you want to refresh on execution of the view thread here. Okay, so what you can do is, you can actually go here and then search this result component ID. Okay, RES ID. So this is the table ID. It can be any ID, ID1, ID2, anything. Okay, so you have to put it here. Okay, you can also configure many things in the appearance. For example, what is the display mode? Compact, default, simple. Just see what difference does it make. Okay. Then what is the save query mode? Okay, you can also save a query. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's say every day you are coming in and you are doing the same query. You can save it, save search. You just save the search. So how many rows, how many columns, what is the field width for the internal form, just like the form layout. Okay, so internally, so all these are UI related. How you want your things to appear. Okay. Mode button, footer, so we will see these things. So it went to the untitled one JSPs, the region tag. The region tag will take the task flow and execute it. When it goes to the task flow, it goes to the default activity and it enters it. See the search video. So all these things is out of box. Advanced search, the safe search criteria, everything. Okay. So first it doesn't display anything. Let's say I give S and enter or click on the search. Okay, same thing. So it starts with S, first name starts with S. Let me expand the table. So I go to my page, on the table, style, the box width equal to 99%.
If you want to change your color,
you can change it. They have some family of styling. You can do it in the CRUD file, like a file I was talking about, right? This file. You can change the skins here in this particular file. So skin family is Fusion is given, right? If I give EX, Fusion EX or something, if you have other families,
what are the skins are
I think there are only 2 basic skins, but you can also override each and every component skin. That is also done. You can also do that.
How do you do this?
You will have to write a skin family and then some CSS, and the CSS you will do. The thing about ADF is there are plenty of blogs available for each and everything. So even if you want a specific subject, okay, how to change the skin of a particular component, go and search it. You will get the exact code. Okay, do you have net here? Let's say example ADF basis skin. Okay, Getting familiar with Oracle ADF basis scanning technology. Okay, just go ahead and read it, so you can get something like this look and feel. Okay. You do one thing. Okay. The first part is this one, ADF Insider. ADF basis scanning. So I think this is a video webcast. Yeah. Just go and listen to it or see how they are doing it. So, this is right. This is OTN ADF Insider series. I give you all the URLs. Right. Finish the course and then I give you all the URLs. Okay. So if I give the first name as S, enter. I'm getting first name starts with S. Okay. So my last name I give K.
This is not different.
This is no, in the view criteria.
No, the English
It's driven by the it's driven by the view criteria, right? So in the view criteria, if you go and see, this one we have given ignore case, right?
no, you also offer the check on
This one, yeah, this is because of this. If you give ignore case, it will stamp that up. Okay. So everything is driven by here. Okay, and the appearance of this particular component, okay, partly you can control from the UI and partly from this UI hints on the view criteria. So there is a UI hints on the view criteria also. Okay, so here let's say search region, you want by default basic, you want by default advanced. So here advanced will come. So something like this will come if you click on advanced, right? Something like this will come. So here you can just open all these things. So contains S, you can execute. Okay, you can also add variable fields to it. So let's say email I choose here, right? Yeah. You can also add an email insert. So everything is out of box for you. Or you can choose not to go with this. Correct? Or you can just go with the basic mode. Yeah. Here it will come. Yeah. No record. If you have a basic structure.
The fault that is going to structure is not anything.
So it's able to search it because see, even if you go in the advanced, let's say, you can match all the things you can do. In advanced, you can add only those fields which are queryable equal to true. If you mark something as queryable equal to false, that won't come here.
That's what.
Got it? So about this, okay? So this is the employee search criteria, okay? Let me go to the basic. Okay. Oh, sorry, not personal data. Okay, so let's say I'm searching every day, I'm coming and searching with this criteria. So if I want to save it, I can also save this criteria. So what will happen is something like a pop-up will come and then okay, you can save it as morning search or something. Okay. Go. So this morning search gets saved. But if you restart the application, it will be gone. So to persist it, yeah. So to persist it per user or per site, you need to enable MDS. Okay, that's another topic in itself. But this is how the component works. Okay. So clear how to create a search, and then you can modify certain things here also. So in advanced mode, show match all or match any, something like that. Okay. And also you can so the UI ends, you can give a display name to this particular criteria. So by default, the name of the view criteria will come EMP search criteria, this name. EMP search criteria. You can also override that. Some friendly name you can give here. Whatever name you give, go to the properties bundle and select the name. Okay. Now, certain things you can also modify from the UI. So let's say AF query, the appearance. So save query mode is hidden. That's it. Okay, the save part. So if I do that, my save query mode won't come. So the save and all. Save is on. Likewise, you can just toggle between certain things and see. So display mode is compact, default, max columns, max weight. Okay. Mode button position is in toolbar. So let's say I will make it football. So this mode button will come at the football. What does it mean? This mode, right? Match all any. Sorry, the advanced mode. Mode is advanced, basic or advanced. Okay. So right now it's coming in the toolbar. Yeah. Okay, this is gone, right? So coming in the football now. Now, so understood what this thing is doing, okay? Now the thing is, I want to navigate to an edit page from this page, okay? So I'll have to create an edit page, similar to what I did with the search page. Edit page will contain, so let's say my design is, I'll click on a name here, okay? And then I'll go to that page, okay? So how do I implement that? What I'll do is similar to this, I'll create another page, new, JS page fragment, okay, Java interfaces fragment. I'll name it employee edit page. Similar to the other one, we'll just have a panel to play out. If you don't put panel to play out, your components, they don't appear properly. One will come just after another, like that. It's better to have a container always, okay? HL line left, BA line top, layout is vertical. You can also hit scroll. If you expect that your components will exceed the page size. If you just hit vertical, if you don't give scroll, the lower components will be chopped up. They won't appear. They'll still be there, but you cannot see them. They will be at the bottom of the page. So just make scroll accordingly if you expect that your page size is very big. Now here I want to show a single drop, right? So I won't drag and drop a table. What I'll do is, again I'll go to my employee view, drag and drop as a form, ADF form, okay? I will go with the navigation controls because I don't want to go to the next row. I only want to see the row which I'm clicking on my search page, right? So I'll just do all this. That's okay. I'll make the max column 2, this is equal to 5. So that appears in 5 rows and in 2 columns. Okay, just for the layout. Okay. Now I'll include two buttons. One is to save and one is to cancel. So if user comes here, you modify something and saves it, then cancel. Okay. So I'll just add two buttons here. Button 1, button 2. See how I add, or you can also do it inside, button. Okay. Now here and this button 1, what I'll do is, so these are coming one after another, right? So what we can do is, we can group them together, surround with group. Correct? Or you can use the panel group layout with a horizontal line.
Those buttons are outside the panel.
Yeah, I'm just putting it outside the panel form layout. It's still inside the panel group layout, but those are, so in the panel group layout, first this component appears, and then vertically this component appears. This component aligns everything vertically, horizontally, and contains two command buttons. Okay. So the first one I'll name as cancel. Second one I'll name as save. Okay, so my page will look something like this. Okay. Now I cannot run this page, I need a task flow. Right. So similar to this, I'll create one more task flow. Employee edit flow. Okay. Correct. Now, in the employee edit flow, I'll drag and drop this employee edit page. Clear? Now, the thing is, I need not drag and drop the employee edit page and employee edit flow again in the JSPX page. What I'll do is, from the employee search flow, okay, delete. I'll drag and drop this employee edit flow. I can also call it task flow. This is a task flow call, this activity here, task flow call. Okay? So from within a task flow, I can go to another task flow. It's like calling a method from within a method, and then another method like that. Okay? So what will happen is, if I navigate to that task flow, the default activity of that task flow will be executed. Okay? So if I do something like this, edit. Okay? So if this page generates an action of edit, it will go to this task flow and will execute this page. Correct? So now we are back to
There is no edit button.
yeah. In the employee search page there is no edit button, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to this table, okay, on the first name. There is the output text, right? Which is showing the first row or first name. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll surround it with a link, a command link. So the name, the text I'll just delete, because otherwise it will like command link 1 Steve, command link 1 Jacob, like that it will. So I'll just delete this, and the action I mentioned connect. Got it?
Whenever you
click on the particular row, okay, it should navigate to the, whichever row you click, okay, it will navigate to the, what is that man? It will navigate to the edit flow, whichever row you click, okay, and it will show you a row, okay, right. So we'll just run it. Yes. I'll tell you why we need it. That's what we haven't done that. Let's do that. I'm just going step by step. Okay. So once you again debug this, there is a very important concept here. I mean, before that. So just want to cover that. Yeah. No, we will do it at 10 or 11 so that we finish and then go. Trust me, you cannot sleep anymore, even on weekends. I'm finding that. Even on weekends, 7:30, I'm just getting up, not able to sleep anymore. Every day you're getting up, it's not possible. So just switch that off. Okay? So everything got recorded, right? Okay. So I guess we're on off. No, we're not. So you have this page now. So if I do a search again, so what happens? The first name column, output text, whatever we are showing is surrounded by a link now. Okay? So it will appear as a link. So it is a link now. Okay? Now, whatever row I select, okay, I'll go to my edit page, Stephen, first name, employee ID 100. If I click on cancel, I should go back. Okay, we haven't done that yet, we'll do it. Now, the thing is, I just put a link on my table column output text. Okay. Now, every entry in the table, the first name entry, whatever link I click, it's going to the edit page. But it's showing that particular row. I'll show you this once. So for the first row when it was clicked, it went and showed the first row. Okay.
This is just like a just you can click on primary and that will come.
I'm surprised actually. It's on local DB still. So if I click on the Stephen here, okay, the employee ID is 138. Okay. Let's see what happens. Yeah, still it's so that slow. Not that slow actually. Okay, it's showing Stephen, employee 138. Okay, so how is this thing done? I didn't do anything to maintain the row concurrency between two task flows. So see, from this task flow, I'm going to this page, this task flow, I'm going to this task flow. Okay, this task flow is a page which is showing the employee BO data control as a table. This task flow as a page which is showing the employee BO data control as the current row. The current row is showing it, right? As a form list, it's showing the current row. So if you do a next, it will show the next row. It's just showing one row, okay? But how is this row concurrency maintained? Got it? So whatever I'm doing here, like let's say come on. So here, if I'm selecting this row like this, okay, I'm actually making this row as the current row. Okay, if I'm selecting this row, I'm making this row as the current row. By clicking on the link, before the navigation happens, you're actually selecting the current row here. Well, see, if I select on this link, I'm actually making this row as current row and then going for the navigation. Okay, there's a property in task flow. Every task flow will have a property. If you go to overview, in the behavior, there is this property, shared data control with calling task flows. Right. So in the employee edit flow, if you disable this, do not share, and what will happen? When the task flow enters, the data control won't be shared. The data control will again be instantiated. It won't reuse the existing data control. So what happens? If your data control is again instantiated, one more view query will be executed and the row will point to the first row. So every time you go to the edit, if you execute this, you will always see the first row. You won't see the row which is selected in your previous field because the data control is not shared within this task flow. Every task flow can configure itself to share the data control of the calling task flow. This is the first property and the most important property in a task flow. It is not there in phases config. Because phases config, they don't have the task flow, they don't have the data control concept there. So what happens between those two pages? Yeah, it is task flow A. Okay. I have page. I have page there. The page definition. It is storing my bindings and all. And one more task flow. Again, one more page there. This is showing as a row, this is showing as a page. Okay, the same data type. And this is now, this is its own page definition. Now, all the page definitions are coming from the data control, from the data binding CP, the data control actually. The data binding CP contains the definition of the data control. So, there is igniter here. On the first page, employee search page, on the bindings, there is this iterator, right? Employee behavior iterator. It's coming from the employee behavior, from the AM data control. Correct? Or the relation? Same way, in the employee edit page, there is this employee view iterator and it's coming from the employee view. Okay, this iterator name can be different. So both are referring the same data control. So when going to this master of this task and following this, if the data control scope is not shared, individually they are pointing with the same data control. Right? If the data control scope is not shared, when you come to this page, it will instantiate a new instance of this data control. The employee view will be new employee view. It won't reuse the existing employee. Alright? So basically what we are doing, and the DC level, you are just moving from one row to another row. But you are doing it in different pages. Right? You just move to the fourth row and then you went and saw the fourth row. If you click on the fifth row, that is you are selecting the fifth row. Okay, if you disable row selection, this won't happen. The link is only responsible for the navigation. It doesn't do anything else. When you click on that row, in this data control, the employee view is there. The instance, in both the areas. Correct? If you click on this row, the row is selected. So employee view current row is fifth row. When you come here, the job of this form is to show the current row. But since it still belongs to this instance, the data control, the same instance because of the scope, we are sharing it, okay, it will show the fifth row. If you come, click here on the sixth row and come here, it will show the fifth row.
If you not going that will go to the first row,
Yes, because it won't reuse it, it will create one more employee. One more instance. Yeah, by default it is enabled. Okay, so by default you will see something like by default nothing will be there. So by default one box will be there, some color will be there. That is like yeah. So if you uncheck it, that is you are not sharing. If you check it, you are sharing it. Okay. Which one? No, don't go into that. Wait. Okay. So clear, that is why data control is used. Okay. Within the task flow, you share the same data control. Right? So you are just bothered with designing the pages and designing the stages. Internally data stays same. Correct?
Now here we create only under employee.
Right.
Employee.
Right.
Suppose I am selecting whole row. Means whenever I go to click the employee name, then only it goes to the particular row. If suppose I want to click on the row anywhere you
transform everything to link.
That link is
But that doesn't look good, right? There is no need to everything to be a link. You usually make the first column as link.
No, actually still whenever I click on the
So whenever you click on the row, if you want to go, then you have to override the click listener, the selection listener, and automatically just issue a navigation. Okay, but the important thing here is this selection of the row. Okay, now, so you came to this page. How to return back now? Okay, how to go back to the task flow? Okay, we'll use something called as a task flow return activity. Okay. So on the employee edit flow, go to the diagram. Okay, there is this task flow return. Okay, you drag and drop two task flow returns. Okay, you name it save. you name it, cancel. Just some name, okay? And then from this edit page, you have a save control flow case and a cancel control flow case. This will just return the transaction. Sorry, this will just return the control to the calling task flow. What is the calling task flow? The search flow. So when it returns the search flow, it will again come back to the default activity. Correct? So if you have gone to the, let's say you have one more view here, and if you have gone from this, okay, so, no, not this, sorry. Okay, let's say there is one more view, and you have actually gone from this view to the edit flow, but if you return, it will always come back here, because this is the default activity. It won't come here. Okay, if you want it to come here, you have to place a router or maybe make this as default activity. Okay. So, task flow activity will do nothing, return activity will do nothing, it will just return. Okay. Now I need to configure this on the buttons. So I'll go to my page, source, okay, my cancel button. So whenever the cancel is clicked, I want to invoke, see the action is not appearing here. So I want to invoke the cancel action. Okay, and then go ahead and do it. Whenever save is clicked, I want action to be saved. Correct? So once I run my page,
Similarly, whenever we are doing edit, we have to, now all these are enabled. Whenever we edit your page, we are able to disable something. That's based on this one. What is the properties of the...
Yes. It's everything from POV, okay? So if you make enable disable login, the only thing you have to understand here is there are only two things happening. You're setting the current row and you're navigating to a page which shows the current row as well. Right? That are the two things involved. Okay? Right? So I'll go to Stephen. So when I click on it, the row is set, then the navigation happens. Okay? Okay? Now if I click on save, it will save it and return back. If I click on cancel, so let's say name I'm modifying SMARKLE SSSS, the email, okay? I save it.
How is the action we want to save? Actually,
We haven't configured anything. That's my point exactly. So if you come to the same row here, what happens is, let's just wait. S-Markle, right? It's there, but it's not actually saved to the database. It's actually in the data control cache, but it's not saved to the database. So if you go to the database and search, it's not actually saved.
Means that's only for the view only.
Yeah, it's not a cache only. So we haven't issued a database commit actually on this. So we need to do that now. So select start from employees. Where? What is the employee ID of this fellow? 128. Okay. if you see here, the email is still response, right? So we didn't issue a commit actually, okay? Now, if you go back to your edit flow, this task flow return activities, right? They can also they are actually transition aware entities, transition aware objects. They can issue a commit and rollback. Okay, how can they do it? Click on this, go to the property inspector of this flow. In the end transaction, you can do it. On the save, you can issue a commit. And here, you can issue a rollback. So before actually returning from the task flow, it will issue a commit and rollback. This is how you configure the commit and rollback. So what it does is, it will take the data control commit and data control rollback to commit and rollback. If your data control is based on web service or something else, you have to implement a commit method there and do some logic. But with BC project, it will call the AM's commit and rollback. These two methods it will call. Internally, commit and rollback. The AM's commit and rollback. Okay. Now you see there is an error here. Okay. Commit or rollback is not allowed because the task flow does not initiate a transaction. Okay. If you don't have a transaction clear, right? What a transaction is. So if you don't have a transaction, you cannot actually issue a commit or rollback. So what all things it will commit? To which thing it will roll back? Okay, those kind of things. So you have to configure the transaction property, just like you configure data control. The other important property in a task flow is the transaction property. You will find this transaction property right above the data control here. So there are three types of transaction. Always, so the default is no controller transaction. In that case, so let's say your task flow is only doing a select statement, only involved in search. Transaction is not required. I'm not modifying anything, not creating anything, not deleting anything, right? So in that case, in your employee search flow, transaction is not required because we are not issuing any transaction commands, okay? But here in the edit page, since we are issuing a committed rollback, I need a transaction, okay? So there are three types of transaction, okay? Let's discuss that. Always begin a new transaction, always use the existing transaction if possible, okay?
So it entirely depends on the use case. Okay. Let's say you are designing a new page here. That's fine. Well, it's recorded. So let's say you are designing edit page, and you are sure that this edit task flow will always be called from the search task. Okay. So what it will do? Use existing transaction if possible. If possible, okay? The third option is using transaction if possible. What it will do is, it will see whether the transaction is there or not. Okay? Otherwise it will create a new transaction. Correct? So, this will be used only in those task flows where you are not sure whether the calling task flow will have a transaction or not. Right? So, the search flow, it may be called from the search flow or some other flow, and this edit may go into that transaction. Some create flow after that you are editing something. Okay. So you use this when you're not sure whether the calling task flow has a transaction or not. It's always safe to go with this. Okay. In your the second option, always use the first option, let's say, always begin a new transaction. So in create flow, let's say you are using create transaction. And you are pretty much sure that create will happen only from search flow. Will not happen from anywhere else. You will go with this. Always begin the transaction. You should be careful with this because, let's say, one of the task flow has already begun a transaction. You cannot create a transaction within a transaction. You cannot do that. Okay, so it will come back. The transaction already exists or some error will come. Okay, so always make sure your task flow is right. So the second first is to go with this. If it's not, it will create. Okay, and this it will go only when you are sure that okay, this particular task flow will be always called from a non-transaction aware task flow, and I need to create a new transaction. Clear? The second option, always use the existing transaction. Where will you use it? So if the transaction is not there, it won't create it. Okay? So let's imagine a use case. Something like multiple forms. So when we fill multiple forms one after another. Okay? So let's say there's a task flow like this, it goes under task flow, under task flow, like 4 tasks. So you want, let's say user came here, it modified something, it came here, modified something, it came here, modified. On the third task flow, okay, if you want that, let's say some error happened here, And on the error, if you click on cancel, you want this whole thing to go back. Let's say the use case is like that. So what you will do, you will begin a new transaction here, and you will use the existing transaction. Always use the existing transaction. Second option, always use the existing transaction. So all of them participate in the same transaction. Right? So if you roll back anything here, the whole thing is rolled back. It's just like that. So these use cases, you will use it.
Like,
It's a training process. It's called a training, right? It has stops and then.
say continue, finally we will start.
Yeah. So the entire different money use case. These three options will help you implement those use cases. Okay? So for the edit, what you will do, will go to the option, use existing translation if possible. Okay? So if the translation is not there, it will create translation. Okay?
So as soon as I use this, use existing transition if possible, you will see in the diagram the errors are vanished. So I have a transaction now. Okay?
This is good whenever we don't use this transaction.
Yeah. So now I run this guy. So data control clear, transaction clear, right?
Once we go to this,
Yeah.
then on memo only.
Right. So you were asking about this other thing, right? No save point on task flow entry. Okay. So what happens is
Every task flow, okay? Let's say you're considering one task flow. Whenever a task flow entry happens from outside, by default it will save point. Okay? And what it will do is, by default, whenever you roll it back, okay, it will do it in this curve. Because it needs the boundary, right, whenever you are rolling it back. So it needs the transition to be rolled back to a particular, what do you call that? Particular statement in your whole process, particular point in the whole process. So by default, the transition and the save point in task group will be at the beginning. Okay. If you disable that, okay, you can also
disable this thing. So you can say, okay, no save point at task flow entry.
So what will happen? This save point will go. So you will use this option in the tree type of thing.
This is save point means just like
Database save point.
database server.
Yeah, same thing. It will just emulate the database save point functionality.
Means CS is 3 years of time.
Yeah. In that case, you will use it. You won't go with a single save point on every loss. You will go with the save point on the initial one, and then
After the voltage, the rollback will happen.
right. So all the coming rollback will affect all the involving downstairs in that training point. Okay.
So S. Okay. I'll go to this last one. Shelly Higgins. Employee ID 205. Okay. Fine. Now if I change the email here, save it. Okay, it came back. Now we'll see in the database whether that happened. Reliance. Okay, it got modified. Edit cycle is completed. You go back, you edit something, come back. Okay. Now what we'll do, we'll have a button here, on click of which we'll go to the next task flow and we'll create. Okay. So what we'll do is, we'll again create a task flow. Actually, I can reuse the same task flow with just a parameter, edit or create. But I'm just going to use a different task flow, and we'll see how we can use parameters to actually reuse the same task flow. So if the parameter is just create, behave as a create. If the parameter sent is edit, behave as a edit. Okay, we'll see it in the next class. Okay, but here I'll just create a new page, same as employee edit page. So new JSF page fragment. Okay, so employee create page. Okay, same as before. Insert inside final group layout. Okay, properties, layout vertical, align top, align left, drag and drop the employee PO object as a form, right? Form layout, so max columns is 2, this is 5. Again insert 2 buttons. Okay, this time I can actually use the, I'll just insert 2 buttons. Okay, surround this guy with a group. Okay, on the first button, I'll write the text as cancel. Okay, and the action is cancel also. Right? I'll configure the actions later on. This one is save.
That's where here we just click on save. It's a normal save.
Right.
If you save that one, before submitting, you just enter the email exchange.
Right.
Right. Then you just save it. It is coming to the page, that page, and this is showing you the...
Yeah, there is from the data control cache.
Data control.
Because the data control instance is there, right? So there is actually a row in the data control also. You're just changing that. You're just not pushing that to the DB. So if you refresh your page, the data will be gone.
Okay.
So, but if you commit it, then the data will commit to the DB.
I don't know this because of save.
No. This is a coming.
Save, whenever it's coming to the
Yeah. This does nothing. Just save by itself does nothing. So new ADF task flow. Okay. Now tell me whether I need to share the data control in this case or not.
That's data control.
I still share it. I'll create in the same view. I mean, I can choose to create a new instance, but the same instance I can use. I just create a row there. Okay. So employee create flow. Tell me the transaction. What transaction I should use?
New.
I'll go with the beginning new transaction because I'm coming from the search flow. Okay. So in the create flow, go and drag and drop this create page, right? Drag and drop 2 task flow returns, name it save, cancel, same thing whatever we did earlier. We could have used the same task flow actually. Save, cancel. Okay, still complaining because the behavior always begin new transaction. What is that? Commit rule is required. Oh yeah, it's required now. Okay. So commit and go back, right? So my configuration is done. All I need to do is I need to call this task flow from my search page now. So on the search flow, what I'll do is I'll call this employee create flow. Okay. Create.
But there is also have to do one more button.
Yeah, we need a button because we cannot call it on particular row. We'll have to call it on the table itself. Create a row for this table, right?
Whenever you create button,
Right. So what I'll do is I'll put a button somewhere just above this. Okay. Insert before AF table button. Okay. I'll name it create. Okay, and then I'll make the action is create. Okay, I'll run it. So now when you go to the
create task flow, the create page will be rendered and it should show empty row, right? Sure? Will it show empty row or not?
That will go to the first row.
It will go to the fifth time, it will go to the first row or whatever row you selected there, right? Because we didn't actually empty view. Right. So we need to do that actually, we didn't do it. So what we need to do is, the create flow, before going to the page, we actually need to create a row on this particular view. So how we can do that? Go to the data control. In the employee view, there are operations. There is a create insert operation. Drag and drop this as a method action. Treat it as a default activity. Unless you do it, it won't come here before going to the page. It will just come to the page here. So control flow page. You can either make it create insert or just make it a star. So whatever happens, it will just come here.
So, compulsory of parent is, star will be star.
Yes, sir?
Star will be, compulsory one character.
Something
which is
the wildcard character is star. Okay. So once the control comes here, this is the default activity. So the create insert will happen first. It will create an insert row on the BO data control, on the BO itself, then it will come to the page. Now create, if you just do a create here, it will create a row, but it won't insert it. If you do a create insert, what happens? I told you, right, when we were doing DC. You create a row, insert on the view collection. When you insert it, the current row points to that row. The job of this page here is to show the current row from the data control. And by doing create insert, we just made the current row as a new row, empty row. Okay. So we'll again have to run this arrangement. So see, with only one page, you are able to do these many things.
Okay, how to do some here views?
What do you want to do? Tell me. Similarly, you can do it. What do you want to do?
Suppose views are creating an entity, so suppose I am creating one view, which are two entities, are more than two, will three entities.
Yeah, you can do
When
it.
I am going to insert, it will be insert or not, but means normal view.
No, if you have associations and view links and all, master data table, it will be inserted. So what happens, you are just creating growing memory. When you do commit, the framework takes care of taking them to the deep, whatever relationship you have in that entity and all. It's just that it should pass all the tests, all the relations in the BC layer, and it will go straight. If there are some constraints in the DB and it doesn't satisfy that, it will again fail. Clear what we did for create and insert, right? So if I do a create employee here, it will go to the create employee task flow. It will initiate a transaction while going there, and what it will do is, first default activity it will execute create insert. Then it will go to the page. So the page shows the current row, which is now a new, because of the create insert. Okay. Okay, new row. Employee name is null. There is a transient entry could be constructed, right?
I was studying LOV tasking, already will define that.
LOV defined already. Okay. Now, I cannot save it. It will complain like this because these are required fields, because the validators we have. Okay. If I cancel it, if not cancel it complains. If you not cancel, it goes to the validation. It's a button. It will do validation if you try to submit it. Okay. How to avoid this? I think I mentioned it while doing some prototype initially. So on cancel buttons, you don't want validations to execute, right? You just want to cancel it, roll it back. How to suppress validations in the ADF lifecycle? How to suppress it? So all the validations pages we saw, right? All the validations will be just disabled. We can do that with a property called immediate on the cancel. So let's say on the employee create page, on the cancel button, you don't want the validations to happen. On click of the cancel button, what you will do is, you will go to the behavior and you will make this immediate equal to true. So just go over that request. Immediately go over the request, don't go for any validations. Okay, that is immediate equal to true. So now if I go back and execute my page,
So you don't want that on save. So you don't want this immediate equal to on save, because on save you still want to see all the validations on the UI. Only if you put immediate equal to on the cancel buttons or back buttons or whatever. So that's one property and that's one use case for you. Okay, it's a very important property. Immediate property on command components. There is a specific meaning of immediate property on input components also. We'll see it later on. For now, on every command component, command line, command menu, command button, anything. If you put immediate equal to true, and if you click on it, it won't execute any validation on the page. Okay. So if you go and create employee. If I cancel now, no validation happens. I just go back to my original search page. Save if you click it, the validations will happen. Whatever it is, okay, yeah, let's do it. Come on, don't doubt me. Okay, so save will execute the validations. Click cancel. Okay. Fine, so this completes your task flow without the parameters. We'll see the parameters again. Okay? Yeah.